Warhaven uses a class system, and in this video I want to give you guys an overview on the strengths, weaknesses and primary game plans of all the soldiers in this game. So let's jump right into it. Starting off with Blade, your default knight character in Warhaven. Blade is a very solid all-rounder that does everything pretty well. He has 400 HP, which is a bit above average. Both his horizontal and overhead attacks have decent range and deal very solid 120 damage. Blade's guard break, his E ability, stands out among all soldiers due to its short cooldown of only 5 seconds. Furthermore, there's a specific perk that makes it so if you successfully execute a guard break, the cooldown will be reset immediately, which is very good. Blade's Q ability is alright, but I wouldn't bother trying to play around it too much. Blade is one of the strongest characters in the game by just sticking to his basic attacks and guard break. Next we have Spike. Spike is a long-range, high-damage DPS class. With 360 HP, her health pool is a bit below average, but still fine. Spike's uncharged stabs deal damage depending on how far you are away from your opponent. It scales quite significantly from 66 pure plus 44 trauma damage in very close range to 154 pure damage at max range. If you charge the stab and the crosshair turns yellow, the damage will always be 200, no matter the range. It's important to notice that the longer you charge the stab, the more damage you will do, but also the longer the charge will go on cooldown. If you kill someone with a charged stab, however, the cooldown gets reset immediately. So with Spike it's always more efficient to focus on low HP targets that you can finish off with one charged stab. If you release the charge at the right time, Spike will perform an unblockable stab that deals 300 damage. With 1 to 200 milliseconds, the window is quite large and with a bit of practice, pretty easy to hit consistently. Just release the button as soon as the timer shows 0.9 seconds and the crosshair flashes red. This unblockable stab is Spike's bread and butter and you should use it as much as you can to finish off targets, so the cooldown gets reset. Probably the biggest drawback in my opinion with Spike is the fact that she doesn't have a guard break from neutral. To guard break, she needs to combo it from a successful spear parry, which is not quite as reliable. I would say Spike is a bit harder to play than Blade, just because stabs are inherently harder to aim and easier to dodge than slashes. In the right hands, however, the spear lady can be exceptionally strong. Next we have Warhammer. With 440 HP, Warhammer is one of the tankier characters in the game. His uncharged horizontal attack does 90 pure damage plus 30 trauma damage for the first hit and 160 pure damage for a successful combo hit. His overhead also does a whopping 160 pure damage. The real big damage however comes in when he charges his LMB attack. These hammer blows deal an insane amount of 300 damage in a big AoE while being unflinchable. Most decent Warhammer players charge their swing from a safe distance and then walk in. And once they see an opening, they dodge forward and unleash their swing. It is a pretty easy game plan to execute. You just need a good feel for your dodge and weapon range. Interruption is not so important, since you are unflinchable during the release anyway. While Spike gets a cooldown when she cancels her stab, Warhammer can cancel and use his hammer blow freely without any penalty. There are also pretty good perks for his charged swing, with the increased dash range and that prolonged LMB holding time when charged. Warhammer's Q ability is alright. Sometimes you can jump in with it, but your primary game plan should definitely revolve around causing a carnage with your hammer blows. Guardian is the big boy tank slash frontliner slash support soldier in Warhaven. With 480 HP, he has the most health out of any class. The biggest advantage of Guardian is the fact that due to his big shield, he only takes half the trauma damage when blocking attacks. And attacking into his block staggers enemies for a short duration. That makes it so he can absorb heat on the front line much easier than other classes. He also has a passive ability called Resilience, which reduces damage beyond a certain threshold. His attacks, both overhead and horizontal, deal 50 pure damage plus 70 trauma damage, which is by far the lowest pure damage output out of any soldier, except the healer. Furthermore, his one-handed mace has a pretty low range. With Guardian, you wanna stick to your team and absorb attention from your enemies and make room for the other classes to deal most damage. His signature ability is his shield charge, which is a great AoE teamfight disruption tool. The only way he can guard break an opponent is by starting his charge and then immediately cancel it into a guard break, which takes time and sets his charge on a 15-second cooldown. Guardian has a pretty cool character design in my opinion. He is quite team reliant, which can be frustrating when playing with randoms, but he's still fun to play. Then we have Hush, the glass cannon character in Warhaven. With 280 HP, Hush is very susceptible to attacks and falls over when you look at her the wrong way. What she misses in HP, however, she makes up for in mobility. Hush has 3 dash charges, so she can easily get in and also away from opponents. She can also dodge under horizontal attacks and attack at the same time with her crocodile bite. Hush's normal attacks deal bonus damage from the back. Both her normal attacks deal 60 pure and 30 trauma damage from the front, and 80 pure and 50 trauma damage from the back. She has a guard break from neutral that does solid 90 damage. Hush's game plan is to stay agile and dash in and out of engagements, and deal damage to enemies to charge up her Q ability. When unleashed, a fully charged Q ability deals 240 AoE damage from the front and one-shots everything from the back. Hush is definitely the hardest soldier to play well in the current roster, but satisfying when it clicks. And last but not least, we have Smoke, the support and healer class in Warhaven. Smoke's right mouse button restores HP of allies. With 240 HP, Smoke is the squishiest soldier in the game. Similar to Hush, however, she makes up for this with good mobility. Smoke has 3 dash charges that have quite a long replenish time, but are superior to any other dash in the game. First of all, she's the only soldier that can dash forward, with the exception of Warhammer during his hammer charge. And she can also air dash, which gives her greater dash range and reduces all damage taken by 70%. Another mobility tool she has is her Q ability, that lets her create a clone that she can teleport to and burst heal teammates in an AoE around it. And lastly, she has a blast ability that can push back opponents. Blasts, however, can be blocked, which many players do not know or react to. This enhanced mobility that she has is desperately needed, as Smoke is the only character in the game that can't block. So you basically try to heal teammates while running away from enemies all game. Smoke is also the only character that can resurrect non-squad teammates. She also has some good perks that let her heal more teammates at once or reduce her dash cooldown. Smoke is actually my least favorite character to play in Warhaven, even though in other games I often enjoy playing support roles. It feels the healing is quite underwhelming, and also the rest of her toolkit is not really satisfying. I thought I'd share my thoughts on the current roster in Warhaven. Let me know in the comments what your favorite soldier is and why. If you enjoyed watching, then please leave a like and consider subscribing for future medieval slasher content. As always, thank you all for watching and see you soon.